and welcome back to Sonya's Prep. In this week's video, I'm going to take you along on a Shabbat birthday. It's my husband's birthday this Friday, and I'll take you along step by step on what I'm going to be making, how I'm going to be prepping it, and I hope you guys all enjoy. So let's roll up our sleeves and let's get prepping. Going out to my yard, I want to get some basil for some pesto. It's looking great. This is my basil plant, and I have some mint growing over here. Let's see if I can do this one-handedly. Okay, let's see what we have over here. I have a tomato that's ready. A few of them. Oh, nice. Let's pick it. Two tomatoes here. Let's set them aside. Now I'm looking for eggplants. Yes. We have one here that's ready. A few more growing in the back. I have another one over there. I also have these white ones, which are pretty cool. And then I have the larger eggplants growing over there. This is so exciting. I have my hot peppers here, and I have a cucumber plant. Let me see if I have any cucumbers. I don't see any. Oh, there's a skinny cucumber right there. Oh, another one right here. This is what I got. I got 3 Spanish eggplants, I believe they're called. I got some basil and I got a few tomatoes. We're ready to cook. I picked a larger eggplant a few days ago from my garden and I made bouillon with it. Once it cools, I'm gonna add in some salt and garlic in here and give it a good mix. With the 3 smaller eggplants that I picked, I sprayed the bottom of the parchment paper with oil. Then I lined the eggplants over the top, spray them with oil, and I'm gonna season them now with some salt and black pepper and place them into the broiler until they're nice and browned. If you don't want to do this in the broiler, you could definitely fry these up.
Why are you mashing it up? Where's your dad?
Look what Miriam made. It's Shay's birthday this Shabbat, and she made this amazing mocha cake. She did such a good job. The recipe is from the Beis Yaakov cookbook. The eggplants are done. I'm putting them here so they can cool off. They're looking great. They're nice and thin. The first thing that I also put up is my chicken soup. So I go to the store, I go to Bingo usually, and they have this pack of chicken bones. As you can see, it's like the carcass of the chicken. There's 4 of them in here. They're so cheap, and if I cook them long enough, the broth becomes so rich and so flavorful. I love to get this. So I let this broth develop. I skim off anything that's not good off the top of it. And then I add in all of my veggies. So this is going while I'm going to get all the other stuff together. So for now, let me show you what's been going on in my kitchen. I have washed and prepped all of the basil. I cleaned them all. I placed them into the food processor. We're gonna make pesto with this. It's gonna be a great topping for the roast that I have over here with baby potatoes. This is a mock second cut brisket. I usually love second cut briskets, but this was cheaper and I tried my best to get the best deals out there when I'm hosting. And then I'm going to get started on Moroccan salmon. So I'm going to clean up my jalapenos, and also with the leftover jalapenos, I'm going to be making some jalapeno dip, which is a great hit in the house as well. While the soup is boiling, Miriam actually seasoned all of this up. So this is the roast that I showed you with some baby potatoes. Over here we have cumin, coriander, salt, and black pepper. You could also actually add in some onion soup mix. I enjoy the flavor that it gives. And I'm gonna add in a bit of water and always put in a bit of oil just feel like it always gives some extra flavor. The water is going to prevent it from drying out while it's being reheated on the stove, on the hot plate. I just put it all around. And I'm gonna seal it up and place it in a 350-degree oven for about 3 hours. I'm gonna be up for a little bit, so it's gonna get cooking right now. Now I'm gonna be moving on to my stuffed peppers. If you saw my last week's video, I made stuffed onions and I made way too much filling. So I froze half of that filling so I could have an emergency quick dinner for Shabbat. So I'm gonna be actually using that filling in these stuffed peppers. So in a pot over here, let me show you. In the pot here, I have some bones over here. You can add bones to this, you don't have to. I choose to because I just have them and they just go perfectly in these meals. They also add tons of flavor. I'm gonna add in maybe like 3 to 4 tablespoons of oil to the bottom. Also adds tons of flavor, you don't have to do this. And about half a cup or so of tomato sauce is going in here. And now I'm going to show you how I'm going to be prepping the little mini peppers that are going to be stuffed. I have Miriam here. She's actually cleaning out the peppers. So as you can see, look how she's doing it. She's slicing off the little tops of them and taking out the inside, the veining and the seeds. And you guys can leave the tops, and once they're filled, you can close them up, or you can just leave it as is. I'm not going to be fiddling around with the tops. I'm just gonna fill them up and place them into the pot. Now we're moving on to making my homemade pesto. Like I showed you, I have tons of basil in my garden. I filled this whole thing up with it, and I'm going to be adding a handful of walnuts. Definitely pine nuts would work absolutely best here, but I don't have any, and that's fine. I have 2 cloves of garlic here. We're gonna add in, to start, about half a cup or so of avocado oil. Season it with some salt and some pepper and zhuzh it up. All right, it's done. The aroma is so incredible. It looks gorgeous and green. It's just gonna go so well as a dip with some sourdough on top of meat, on top of fish. How is?
That's great.
Good?
Delicious.
Into this same food processor, I'm going to add in my jalapeno dip. I also made that in the last Shabbat prep, and I simply just took jalapenos and the garlic and just slightly browned them with a little bit of oil. I always struggle when I'm making the same thing twice in a row. If you guys want to see exactly how I make it, or if you just want me to refer you to the other video, but I just wanted to quickly tell you how I made it in case you wanted to recreate this as well. And I think the pesto that was here earlier is just going to add to the flavor, so I'm not going to rinse it out. I have roughly about 5 jalapenos in here. I'm going to add in about half a cup of mayo in here, a few dashes of paprika, a few dashes of coriander, a few dashes of cumin, a few dashes of salt, and a smidge of lemon. That's basically it. I'm going to put that to pulse as well. Into the same pan where I had my jalapeno dip, I'm just adding in some oil. I'm not even washing it because there's no need to. Save yourself some time, conserve your energy. I'm adding in a bunch of jalapenos, some garlic, cloves that I've sliced up. I do have a detailed video on all of my Shabbat fish, so I'll link that below for you as well. I'm dropping in a tablespoon of tomato paste and garbanzo beans. And I'm going to season all of that with some salt and place it on the fire. While everything is getting cooked for the Moroccan salmon, I grated here 1 garlic, and that eggplant that we roasted, I'm going to plop it right over the garlic. Add in some salt, and from the dull side of the knife, I'm just going to chop it up until it's nice and smooth. All done. Now our third dip is done. So we have the pesto, the jalapeno dip, and the bouillon. Into here I'm going to be making space, adding in the salmon. All around. This is actually one of my favorite fish. It's so full of flavor. So yummy. At this point, if you don't have any space, just put the chickpeas right over the top of the salmon. Now the fish is going to get some salt all around. A squeeze of lemon juice. And just leave that in here just for decoration. And over here I have about a 1/4 cup of oil with a tablespoon of paprika and a tablespoon of turmeric. I'm going to glaze that all over the fish. And everything that's left over, I'm going to just fill it up with water a few times. I turned up the fire now so it could get cooking. Top it off with some gorgeous cilantro or parsley if you guys really dislike the cilantro flavor. It just adds such a gorgeousness to the fish. That is it. It's going to be cooking for about 5 to 7 minutes with a lid, and it'll be done. The chicken soup has been cooking for a little over an hour, and then I added in a carrot, 2 big potatoes, a celery, onion, and then I seasoned it with some cumin, coriander, salt, black pepper, and some garlic and herb seasoning from Costco. I'm going to let that continue cooking for the next hour or so. I like to add dill to the top. It just adds so much flavor. I'm going to cover it back up with the lid and let it cook. The stuffed vegetables that are done. In the bottom over there are stuffed onions. I just did not have enough peppers to stuff, and there was too much filling, so I'm going to finish this off by adding in some tomato sauce that I've diluted with a bit of water. I don't fill it up all the way to the top because all of these veggies, the onions and the peppers, are going to give off their own juices. I'm going to cover that up and cook it tomorrow when I get back from work. It's Friday, we're back in the kitchen. I just got home from work. I'm going to put up my sourdoughs to get baking in the oven. I'm heating up my Dutch ovens in the oven. While the Dutch ovens are heating up, I have my osvo here that I'm taking out of the fridge. I'm placing in this inside of it because we like that. I'm going to close it up, let it come to a boil, and I'll finish this osvo off with eggs, sweet potato, and regular potato. In the meantime, I also put up my stuffed vegetables and stuffed onions. It's slowly coming to a simmer. That's going to continue cooking until Shabbat comes in, which is in about 3 hours or so. And it's going to get nice and sticky and thick. It's going to be very, very yummy. Friday is usually when all of the prep that we've been prepping since Wednesday all comes together. It gets a little bit hectic and a little bit chaotic. I just have a few quiet moments before all the kids come from camp. So I'm trying to rush and get things done while I have a little bit of peace in the house. The baby's sleeping. So right now what I'm doing is getting everything ready for the cholent. I started to add in this second cut pastrami brisket into it, and it's out of this world. It's already so flavorful, so delicious. So I'm chopping up 1 onion, placing it into the crock pot right here. And to that, I'm going to be adding in a can of red kidney beans. You could also add in barley. You could add in white beans, chickpeas, whatever is to your liking. I'm also going to roughly cube up 1 potato with some garlic, and it's going to be out of this world. It's so good. Placing in 2 of these butternut squashes, and it's come to a boil. I made the fire very, very low, and I'm gonna place parchment paper right over the top. On top of the parchment paper, then I add in my eggs. A lot of people add their eggs into the actual osvo, but we prefer to have our eggs like clean. Otherwise, your eggs are gonna be all oily and full of sauce. Then I'm gonna add in 1 potato. And I also got a Japanese sweet potato that I'm gonna place inside, but it's kind of huge. I think I'm gonna cut it in half. That's it. I close it tightly with a lid, and I keep it on the lowest flame until Shabbat starts, and then I transfer it over to my hot plate. Into the cholent pot, I added in 2 cans of the red kidney beans because I couldn't find any of the white ones. I also have some barley here, 1 onion, 1 potato, and I had some tomato sauce, salt, black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, paprika. I'm gonna add in 4 cups of water to 2 cans of beans. I'm gonna actually add another 1 or 2 cups depending how it's gonna look. I also minced a few garlic cloves in here, and now I'm going to take the brisket out of the packaging and just place it over the top and let it cook on high until Shabbat starts. And then I'm gonna turn it on low, and it'll stay on low until we're ready to eat it at lunchtime. Now I'm going to be making a few more salads for Shabbat. I have 1 carrot here and some broccoli stalks that I'm going to be making a broccoli slaw with. You can simply buy the prepared broccoli slaw mix and do the exact same thing that I'm going to be making. So I got everything ready for the broccoli slaw. I'm going to dress everything all at once. So I have, now moving on to the broccoli salad. I left some of the carrots that I shredded for the broccoli salad as well. And the stalks, I don't need them to be so long, so I just cut them like this. And I tried to make the broccoli bite-sized. Into the broccoli, I have some sliced peppers that I thinly sliced. I also have a can of corn that I've drained. I'm going to be adding in dill. I used about half a bunch of dill in here. I'm going to add some mayo and salt and black pepper. I'm going to be grating in 1 garlic also. And if you like, you can add in a little squeeze of lemon. That's optional. That's it. Mix it all up. I just tried some. And it was delicious. So good. And it mixed a lot. Moving on over here. Over here, I like it citrusy, so I'm going to add in half of a lemon, salt and black pepper as well. One garlic clove that you're going to mince or use this grater, and add some mayo, and it's done too. In here I have a quarter cabbage that I have chopped up like this. I have two carrots actually that I thinly sliced. I have one red pepper that I chopped up, one cucumber also, and I'm going to be using this pickling spice. You can actually open this up. You need about 1 tablespoon of this. If you don't have it, don't use it. I just happen to have it, so I'm using it. About 2 teaspoons to a tablespoon of salt, some black pepper. You need about 2 teaspoons of sugar, about 1/4 cup of vinegar, and oil. Mix all of that up. I'm going to use my hands because I want to incorporate it all throughout. Let that sit for a few minutes, and then you can place it into the fridge, and it's going to be ready to go the same day. Remember these eggplants that we made on Thursday? So today I'm going to be making the dressing for it. So I'm going to be using tomato sauce. It's going to vary obviously on how many eggplants you have. I have about a cup over here. I also grated 1 garlic clove, which I'm going to be adding, and about 2 to 3 tablespoons of dill. I'm gonna squeeze in half of a lemon. Season this with salt and pepper. And I give that a very good mix. Taste it, obviously, make sure that you like the flavor of it, and then you could simply just put that all over your eggplants. Delicious. Give everything a little mush to incorporate the sauce everywhere. And that is it. I just quickly showered, got myself together, put some makeup on, and now Miriam is setting up the table. Shai got some beautiful flowers over here. Everything is cooked, everything is ready. All I have to do now is basically put stuff onto my hot plate. That's how we keep everything warm. You guys have tons of questions on how I serve all of my food, when I serve all of my food, how everything is plated, what order does everything go into. And I want to dedicate an entire video to that, maybe the one after this one when I make another Shabbat video, and I'm going to answer all of your questions. So leave me all of your questions, all of your curious questions about how we do things in terms of food down below, and I will try to answer them in the next video. Thank you all so much for watching. Shabbat Shalom from my family to yours.